Let's talk about Late Night with the Devil. I really liked this movie. I thought it was really well done. We're going to break it down using my space system. Story, pacing, artistry, characters, enjoyment. Each category gets a score between 0 and 2. 2 is the best you can get. So real quick, the concept is that there's this late night talk show. It's a found footage movie. Narration, I think, by Michael Ironside in the beginning. Hell yeah. Found footage movie about this late night talk show. It's the last broadcast and everything went to hell. So there you go. So no spoilers in this video, but I'm going to give the storyline a 1.5. I like the storyline here. I can tell that the guys making this movie had a really good concept and they executed it pretty damn well. I love the idea that it's this 1977 talk show where they're interviewing all these people. We're going to get to the characters, and as things slowly get crazier and crazier, it just amps up and you're like, whoa. There's not much, there's a little bit more of the story that I'm telling you here. I'm not doing spoilers. There's a backstory with the host who is awesome, and a little bit of like things with cults and stuff like that. So they examine mediums and the cult craze and like satanic panic and all this kind of stuff. So it's all explored in sort of the confines of this talk show. There's behind the scenes stuff as well. So it's not just the talk show, and there is stuff like outside of it. So they show you behind the scenes. So when they cut to break, you get to see behind the scenes stuff of the talk show. So I think it was done really well. I think it was a lot of fun. It was a cool movie. I like the story. For the pacing, I'm going to give it a 1.5 as well. It is a short movie, 90 minutes. I actually wasn't bored. So I'm toying with the idea of giving the pacing a 2. I'm going to stick with 1.5 only because I felt that a couple of extra little things, it was a little bit slow. It takes a while for the first little thing to happen. It's like something small happens and then something bigger happens later and then bigger, and then finally you get to the end. I would have liked maybe 1 or 2 extra little things, or maybe a couple of more things at the end just to make the ending like really crazy. It didn't go as crazy as I thought it was going to go. But still well paced. It's not 7 hours like these movies. I don't understand why these movies have to be so long now. 90 minutes. It's very easy to rewatch again, and I'm definitely going to watch it again. For the artistry, I'm going to give it a 1.5 as well. They really did a lot of details to make this look like an old talk show, and just like a lot of neat things. They didn't go like full, like they didn't make it look super crappy. Look, you're still making a movie. There's this thing where you're making a movie, people are going to go watch it, and if you saw my review for Skinamarink as an example of like kind of a low budget, found footage thing, that just turned people off. I happen to like that movie, but that just, people were like, what the hell, this is just awful. There's nothing going on. It's too experimental. I can't see shit in this movie. It's weird. It's just too crazy. So this movie's like, okay, well, we can't go crazy. Even Blair Witch to me though is not, it's like, I just like, it's shaky and all that. They tried to make it not that bad, but there are parts where it changes from widescreen to like your kind of your full frame TV. And it's like, why is that happening? It goes to black and white. You're like, okay, I guess that's the behind the scenes footage, but it's a bit weird. They also do, there's like, look, there's like CGI and stuff. Like, what are you going to do? I don't think it was crazy. I actually think it all fit. I was going to give the artistry a 2 out of 2, actually, because I do think that they captured the details, the music and the feel of everything. It's just maybe, I would have liked it maybe a little bit grittier. I don't know, just a smidge. Not Skinamarink, where you're like, I don't know what the hell's going on in this movie. Just a little bit. Like, I used to record movies, you'd rent a movie and you record it on VHS or whatever, and then it looked like crap because firstly it was VHS, and then you recorded it and then it looked like even crap, and then your buddy, you return the movie, and then that recording would become your master tape, and then everyone would record off of that. So it's like multiple generations out, and then by the time you lent it to your buddy, it was like, this movie sucks, like it looks awful. I don't want it that crazy, but maybe like one, maybe record it one time on VHS, just one time, just to make it, just to make it look a little bit crummier. I did not know about this when I was watching the movie, but apparently there's some AI stuff used. From what I could tell, AI was, I guess, used to generate a couple of images where they cut to commercial break and then they'd have a little graphic. that doesn't affect me at all. I know that might be a deal breaker for people, but I mean, whatever. It's not like they AI'd the entire movie or something, right? Like, so that didn't really bother me at all. I don't know what the budget is on this movie. I'm sure it was low. It's just one set, so what are you gonna do? But yeah, 1.5 for the artistry. Everything looked really good. They spent a lot. The other thing too is like for those 2 or 3 images of cutting to commercial break, if people are getting upset over that and saying I'm not going to watch this movie, but yet the entire thing, there's been so much work put into the clothing, the aesthetics. When they're like, oh, here's documentary footage of visiting this cult or whatever. Like, oh shit, that looks cool. Like they did so much stuff. The makeup effects on the girl and everything. Even just like some of the practical stuff with like guys getting killed and whatnot. They did so much work on this movie. There's no way I'm going to say F this movie or boycott it for like 2 or 3 images that are 1 second cutaways to say, you know, stay tuned, we'll be back. And then it's like a screen. You're like, really? So that was AI generated? Who cares? And you might say, well, that's just the opening, you know, and now it's going to all be AI. Well, I'm not saying AI is good or bad. I'm saying I need to see the movie. Right? If I feel that this looks terrible, like there's been some recent movie posters that have used AI and they look terrible. And then there's ones where you're like, this looks fine. So like, I don't know, like it's fine in this movie. I didn't notice it. If I didn't notice it, it doesn't matter to me. That's just my honest opinion. For the characters, I'm going to give it a 2. Man, I liked all the characters here. First of all, I'm totally into these mediums and like Uri Geller and Amazing Randy, who had literally, Amazing Randy had the check. He'd be like, here's the check. And I went back and I've watched all the Amazing Randy footage that I could find on YouTube, the Peter Popoff stuff, the Uri Geller stuff. I watched all of it. I watched his challenge. He had a show where you'd come on and try to do something. There's that guy who would like blow pages of, he'd pretend he'd move pages of a phone book. And it's like, it's obviously he's just blowing on the pages. And then they put styrofoam around and then you're like, oh, he can't do it all of a sudden. Love it. Love the medium stuff. The guy in the beginning, Christo is great. He's like, oh, I'm sensing Peter. No, it's Peterson. No, it's like it's Williamson, or it's what, like it's like he he changes it like around so many times. That guy was great. Lily, the possessed girl, was awesome, and she keeps like eyeing the camera, and like so it's like there'll be this angle and she's eyeing it, and then it's like this angle she's eyeing it, and it's like all these weird kind of like you're like, what is going on? She was awesome, and then she turned into the evil thing. That was cool. I mean, even the co-host guy was hilarious. It's like this typical, you know, guy is like, oh yeah, he just goes with the host and says whatever it is, and he's like kind of a jokey character. Yeah, I loved all the characters. I want to talk about David Desmalchin. I think that's how you say his name. He is awesome in this role. He's a great actor, and I've seen him now in a lot of other things, and every time I see him, I'm like, that guy is great. Even I think he was in a couple of the Ant-Mans. He's Polka Dot Man, who is like probably the best character in that movie, really. He is just so cool. This is just perfect. Like the way he's delivering the dialogue and the mannerisms, and oh my God, so good. And you had the Amazing Randy kind of guy. He was so full of himself. He's like, oh yes, this is all fake, ha ha ha. And look, I am that guy. Of course, it's all fake. The real mediums are all fake. Come on, but I love that he's just like such a douche. He's like, well, I can produce that, no problem. And blah, blah, blah. Oh, there's obviously wires, and you know, he's great. And he is. Look, Randy was not like that at all. He's not Amazing Randy. He's just like a representation of the skeptics, but done in a way where this guy, you know, is really like he used to be a magician, so he still got that sort of showmanship, and he's being kind of a dick, which is great. All the actors are great. I loved all the characters, so for me, it's a big 2 out of 2. Enjoyment factor, I'm giving this a 1.5, man. I'm definitely going to recommend it. I'm definitely going to watch it again. I'm probably going to order the 4K. Well, I guess there won't be a 4K. It'll probably be a Blu-ray. I know Umbrella Entertainment is doing a super pack of this. It's going to have all this cool stuff. I'm close to pulling the trigger on that one because I do think that this movie is worth owning in my collection of horror movies. I bought Skinamarink, so I'm sure I can get this one. I'm just deciding what edition to get, if I should just go ahead and get the super edition of this one. I really like this movie a lot, so I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. I thought it was really cool. So far, I think people are liking it. I try not to read or watch other people's reviews or anything because it kind of taints my opinion sometimes. I think that most people are really liking this. The only negatives I've seen is the AI thing. quite frankly, I didn't notice it at all. If it literally is just those still images, that doesn't bother me at all. I didn't notice it. I didn't even know that there was this AI controversy until about 2 minutes before I started shooting this video. I just happened to search I wanted I needed a thumbnail for my video. And then I saw AI. I was like, oh, what's this all about? And I looked at a thing saying, oh, they're using AI. And I was like, I don't want to read this whole thing. So I kind of skimmed it. I think they showed an example of the skeleton guy who was it's like a cutaway. And I was like, I'm not going to read any more of this or look into this because I don't want to let it taint my opinion. But even if it does, I'm not noticing it. So the only thing that's keeping me from giving this even a 2 out of 2 for enjoyment is that I would have liked for there to have been more carnage in the end. And maybe if they would have just kept going back from black and white to color, I understand why they did. And they did the widescreen, the full, and it's like it just feels like that's weird. Like the found footage wouldn't work that way. Like why didn't they just film the entire thing as that show? You know what I'm saying? Like anyway, whatever. Doesn't prevent me from liking the movie. So 8 out of 10. I thought it was a great movie. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. If you like my space system, please like the video and consider subscribing. That's it, everybody. Until next time.